Okay, so I'm pretty excited. This is my second one of these spontaneous Skype conversations, and I'm here with Andrea Maurer, who I have known for a really long time, although neither of us really know how. Um,
Mhm.
I connected with her, and then she bought some art from me, thank goodness. And when I was thinking about doing these conversations, she was one of the first three people to pop into my mind as someone who I really wanted to connect with. So I'm so thrilled to make this happen. So in spite of technology issues, I'm in a change of scenery now with my bathroom behind me and my loft space
I
gaping
love it.
above us. So we're having a feng shui catastrophe behind us, but we're going to pretend that's not happening.
It doesn't seem catastrophic at all. It seems really, really pretty. I like it a lot.
My sparkly lights. So,
Yeah, exactly.
so Andrea, do you want to, just say a little bit about yourself and a contact, and so people know who you are? We can then jump into whatever comes up.
I don't know. Contact. Really, you can just find me on Facebook. I don't have a website at this point. I've had a lot of websites, but right now I'm between websites. Let's say that. So you can find me on Facebook, Andrea Maurer, probably through your website as well. A little about me. I am in my 50th year. I'm 49. I will be 50 in August of next year. Yeah.
It's a good club.
And I would call myself, a spiritual adventurer, perhaps. I guess that would be the best way to do it. The best way to say it. I do a little writing. I make some art, very creative. I like to write, do a little coaching, really, I've done just about everything there is to do. I say the two jobs that I haven't done nor could I do would be nursing or teaching. And one because I'm really squeamish, and the other one because I have this motto that I like to tell people that I like my kids in pictures of yours. And so now I have two kids, one almost 19 and one 14. And I've been married for 22 years. So there you go. I live in a suburb of Indianapolis, and that's about all I've got to say about that. I don't have a very good bio. This was
You have an
quick. So.
awesome bio. Okay, so just for those who are listening, Andrea was writing these notes to self that she was posting almost every day on her Facebook feed and probably other places. And they were just these amazing nuggets of absolute, unfettered, downloaded wisdom. And then she put those together in a book, which is All I Needed to Hear. Is that?
Exactly what I needed to hear.
Exactly what I needed to
hear. That
hear.
actually,
Okay.
you can find that on Amazon. Yeah. Exactly what I needed to hear is still available there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found those pieces to be so compelling and showed Andrea to be both an amazing writer and also a really amazing receiver of this other side of wisdom, the kind of the big wisdom that we all have access to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So today, I got in touch with Andrea today to have a conversation because on her Facebook feed, she had something that she posted from Elizabeth Gilbert that said, "Start knowing." And and that hit me like a stepping on a rake where you're like, oh, okay. So it's just like this feeling of, oh man, what am I pretending I don't know?
Yeah.
What are we pretending we don't know? And I realize this is a time in our country and culture and world where there's just so much going on that's big. And what I'd like to do is to talk more about the personal stuff. But of course, anything we say can probably be applied much more broadly. But Andrea and I had a moment to talk a little earlier before my technical problems, and I am particularly interested to talk today, although I hope we have many more conversations, about this idea of knowing and forgetting and remembering, sort of what that's like as people seeking ourselves, seeking a truth, seeking. So I don't know if there's a way into this, but when you posted that this morning, what was it about that start knowing that really connected with you that if you'd like to jump in there maybe?
Well, as I told you before, I've been on kind of this 13-year adventure where I had a moment of a spiritual awakening, really a rock bottom meets Amazing Grace kind of moment 13 years ago, and it changed everything. And in that moment, what I knew in that moment was who I am and what I am and sort of why we're here. And it was, it was knowing that kind of that unconditional love, perfection, wholeness. When I say perfection, I don't mean that idealized version of perfection. I mean, we're perfect. You are exactly who you are supposed to be. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And completely forgiven without having to ask for forgiveness. It's that's sort of what presence means, because the past it's gone. It's done. Right now, you're completely whole. Right? So it was that letting go of all of it. And it was started by surrender. The whole point was surrender and letting go and saying I couldn't do it anymore. So letting go of that need to control and that need to fix and that need to really do anything other than just give up and let somebody else take over. And somebody else, quote unquote, showed up and in a kind of dramatic way. And over the last 13 years, I would say that it's been a complete remembering and forgetting, back and forth. And I always kind of equate it to falling asleep. So dreaming, right? You're asleep and then you're awake. You're asleep and then you're awake. And I like to think that I've gotten to the point where I'm awake more than I'm asleep, but sometimes I feel like I've, been asleep a long time. So that's I feel like that's sort of the human condition a bit. But if that's, so back to the post. Today I had this, just this very odd feeling of what's next. Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to be doing with my life? Which is the question of my life. What should I be doing? What's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be doing? Please show me, please show me, please show me, please show me. And the answer consistently is just be you, right? Mm-hmm. But that's not enough. And so I keep looking for something. No, it can't be that. Just be me. I mean, there's got to be more, right? I'm supposed to do something. I'm supposed to do something big, Mm-hmm. So another one of those mornings. And I have a little glass jar here of cards that are Amy Oscar's cards that you can pull out. They're just little words. They're just individual words. Mm-hmm. And so I mixed them up like I do and pulled 3 out, looking for, sort of in desperation, looking for some guidance, and pulled out mystery / unknown and open and bridge. Which is it, open to the mystery, let go, right? Don't worry about knowing, and then follow, and then the bridge that's the bridge. That is the bridge, is letting go of knowing and just be you and let go of it all. Mm-hmm. And, and then Elizabeth Gilbert posted that, and, what are you pretending not to know? Right? And it sort of goes back to that what I learned that day, and that is, what are you pretending not to know? You're pretending not to know who you are and what's important and, what you're here to do and who you're here to be, and it's just you, right? And so it's letting go of that. And then you asked me to have this conversation today, and it all came full circle. And so, I never... It's always the same thing. It's always the same thing. It is this remembering and forgetting and remembering and forgetting. And I hope that, I'd like to think that at some point you get to the point where you stop forgetting, but hasn't happened yet, so I'm not sure.
I wonder if this is a little bit like the idea of spiritual awakening. Mm-hmm. It doesn't say spiritually awake. Right? It's spiritual awakening, and so it's that to me makes it feel like an ongoing thing. right? Where you're not done. It's not like, woohoo, I'm spiritually awake. It's like, I'm experiencing a spiritual awakening. And I think that you were talking about sort of moving in and out of a dream state, feeling like you almost like lose yourself to this other dream, and then you wake up to this reality that this is you.
Right.
You are the answer. So anyway, that struck me. And I also loved your description of yourself as a spiritual adventurer, because that expresses such an openness. And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be open all the time.
Yes. But that's also that's also the big lesson is because anything that I tried to grab a hold of spiritually, right? So I say adventurer because every time I tried to grab a hold of anything, it became something that took hold of me. And I always say that, those things became what started out as sort of a conduit to God or a channel to God ended up being an obstacle, right? Because holding on to that. So no sort of, nothing. So adventure, just constantly letting go, constantly going into that place of, I don't know. Because the minute that I think I know something, I swear I can hear God laughing. Okay, well, she knows something again. Let's prove her wrong. And so, she thinks she knows something again, so let's prove her wrong. So it really is this constant letting go, and coming back to not knowing. Wanting to know. It's always the opposite. Everything is the opposite. I always say that. Everything's the opposite. I want to know. You don't get to know. It's not about knowing. It's about not knowing. And it's about being okay with not knowing. It's not about staying awake, right? It's about just accepting the fact that sometimes you're not. It's really this big crazy thing that are all wrapped up inside of each other. They're wrapped up inside of itself, I should say.
This idea of, start knowing, and the thing to know is the not knowing, is so interesting. That's so big. It just feels so important, though, to have the sort of the confidence, the security, the comfort in knowing that this place of unknowing is an okay place, and it's a rich place, and it's a place of potential, and it's a place of exploration. It shouldn't be just a place of fear and feeling lost. Not knowing is a really okay place.
Right. Well, I think there's knowing, and then, which is sort of right here and right now. We're all connected to truth, sort of wisdom, that, right? This whole thing I need to know isn't really about truth or wisdom. It's about, we want to guarantee, right? Yeah. So when she says start knowing, what she's saying is connect to that wisdom, to truth with a capital T, so to speak. But what I'm always trying to connect to, I should only speak for myself, what I'm always trying to connect to is some kind of plan, some kind of master plan. Show me what to do, right? Show me, I don't want to see, I don't want the next step. I don't want to stand here on this step and wait for the next one to appear. I want the instructions, right? Yes. I want the big plan. I want the book. Give me the book and let me read the book. And then I'll follow the book, and that's not how it works. So it's really, it's like start knowing, but it's tapping into that. You're right, because she talks about in that post about hearing the voice, this voice that's not really of you, that's sort of, of something else that tells you what you need to know, right? But we want that other thing, right? Like, those guarantees.
I think that all of us would feel better with a well-lighted path, right?
Yes.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
It's such an act of faith on all levels to just keep moving. And also to know that sometimes we're going to move in directions that aren't the right ones. But that's part of the experience of being, the part of the experience of being. I don't mean just being. I mean being.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to say one more thing about surrender, and then I'll let you go so it doesn't go too long for people who are watching.
Topic, not
surrender. Okay, so a couple years ago, I always thought of surrender as a giving up, a giving in. I always viewed someone who was surrendering as then being taken over and being conquered by something, and always looked at a surrender situation as sort of lying face down on the ground, having given up. And I was watching Super Soul Sunday with Oprah during a nursing marathon with Della many years ago, and she had I'm going to say her name wrong, Alanya Van Sant. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Ileana.
There.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
But she was talking to Oprah about her moment of transformation, with a big T, and it had to do with surrender. And she said, "And then I surrendered," and she did this.
Yeah.
And I thought, it totally blew my mind because I never considered surrender to be that, an opening to the possibility of what's next, a recognition of what is. And, I didn't ever look at it that way. I always looked at it as something, to push against, to fight against or whatever. And when you were talking about your own story of surrender before we started recording, I had that feeling of, there's a physical posture that perhaps you might have been in, but then there was this other posture that you were actually in, which was sort of okay, I am now open to receive this information. And you talk about God, and I just wanted to say for those who are listening, it's sort of God, Goddess, all that is. We use whatever phrase, love, one, more. That feeling of the
force,
the big, the force, the whatever. But it's just such a beautiful idea to remember we can return to that place. But we have to remember to return to that place, or we're going to get forced to back to that place, I suppose.
You can return to it any time, and that's funny because when you were saying that about surrender, I got, I started to feel that flow, right? I think that it's really just an unblocking, right? So that start knowing, it's all the same thing, right? It's the same thing. It is, when we were talking earlier when we weren't recording, and I said, it is this.
Yeah.
When I do that, and I always call it my mashed potato meditation, where I just try to become like a mashed potatoes on a plate, which is really attractive, but just like completely, right? When you do that, when I do that, I can feel that that flow, that electrical current, and when I do that, and I feel that's knowing, right? That's knowing that, and there may not be a voice that goes with it. There may not be a plan. There may not be a next step, but it is that connection to who you are and what is, and know. That's what I know. I know that. That's the only truth I know. Really, is that there is, and that's it, right? And sometimes when I connect to that, guidance comes through, and sometimes words come through, and sometimes the next step comes through. But sometimes just attaching or tapping into that is enough. It's always enough. It's just that sometimes it's just that flow, right? But I think that I think it's a product of ego and wanting to control it and not wanting to feel like we're sort of not who we think we are, right? Because when you tap into that, if you're just mashed potatoes on a plate, I mean, that's, you just look like every other mashed potato around you, right? And so every plate of mashed potatoes around you. So I think that that's kind of the struggle. But if I could just remember that every time, I keep thinking of some kind of tattoo, some kind of symbol where I could, Glenn Melton has "Be Still" right here, and that's her touch point that says "I'll be still," and I think that's the same thing. It's just letting go, right?
And for you, each time you've done it, while we were talking, it included the act of exhaling.
Yes,
where it's literally like by emptying, you allow yourself to be filled. It's a really beautiful thing. Yeah. I think as soon as
Yeah.
they have sparkly tattoos that are,
Yeah,
I mean, I'll get one when they're sparkly.
Exactly. So that's,
Yeah.
that's really it. It's that's the knowing, I think. And it may not be, you may not be able to grasp onto it and write it or have it take you where you want it to go, but it's remembering.
Yeah.
That's it. Really. That's it. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for asking me.
Oh my gosh, this was such a pleasure. Are you kidding me? This is like a feast.
Well, anytime.
It was. Okay. So I'm going to put Andrea's Facebook link in this post. And she is a masterful coach, regardless of what she may roll her eyes about. The intuition piece of this is real, folks, and she wants to help you connect with yours because it's right there. It's right there.
Absolutely.
So
yes,
yes.
That's what I say. If I can, one of the books I started to write said, I think if there had been a contest in my high school of those least likely to have a spiritual awakening, I'm pretty sure I would have won that. So I would have gotten that award. But, if I can have one, anyone can have one. Anyone can tap into it. It's not even, it's not even that big of a deal, really. Truth be known. And and that's the thing that I've had to sort of wrap my brain around over the last 13 years, is that I don't have to be somebody different in order to remember, right?
Right.
It's not separate. It's the same.
And in fact, if you are somebody different, it's probably harder to remember.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So 3 cheers for authenticity and dipping your toes into the big knowing. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So Andrea, I'm going to stop recording, and then if you hang on for a second, I'd love to talk for just another minute.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.